Here's to feeling good all the time.
Do you love to shop for guns? We're also looking for friendly service? Well, the search is over. Top Gun Supply here in St. Augustine is the friendly gun shop. The staff is very knowledgeable. Frank and Kirk can answer whatever questions you may have and assist you with your AR build. They have a great selection of ammo at great prices. They also carry a full line of targets, cleaning supplies, Lucas Oil products, and firearm magazines. Top Gun Supply is a Glock Blue Label dealer for military and first responders. So what are you waiting for? Stop on by Top Gun Supply of St. Augustine, 525 State Road 16, here in the Westgate Plaza. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop.
This is Sean O'Toole with the Armchair Quarterback. Catch me during Drive Time on the Armchair Quarterback radio show and on Facebook Live. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the National Football League, Big Ten, and college football, and more. We cover it all.
I know what you're thinking, but this is new and improved
Armchair.
It's the new and improved Armchair Quarterback Radio. Take us anywhere you go and everywhere you go. The best sports talk show in all the Southeast. So good you can't believe it's not everywhere. Armchair Quarterback Radio. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
100% taste, 0% artificial preservatives. Made with a blend of delicious oil, purified water, and just a pinch of salt.
2, please, and spread on some extra.
I'm here all day. New and improved
Armchair.
It's time to believe.
The Armchair Quarterbacks cover the Big 12. Big news and big games all year long.
History of Oklahoma is about winning championships. We play well in the Orange Bowl. You can't say, well, that was then, this is now. That's Oklahoma football.
Looks right, throws deep right side, it is intercepted! 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 Unhitch the wagon, put the ponies in the board! The Sooners have come into Rocky Top and stolen one away from the Volunteers in double overtime.
And Texas will win the All-State Sugar Bowl. It's going to be a 10-win season for the first time since 2009 in a New Year's Six bowl victory.
Holloway going down the line with it. Keeps it. Turns upfield. First down. Breaks loose. They score. Touchdown. 4th and 5. The national championship on the line right here. He's going for the corner. He's got it. Vince Young scores.
Armchair.
You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
I hear these fools on TV talking about defund the police and things like that. We need police reform and prison reform and things like that. I'm like, wait a minute. Who are black people supposed to call? Ghostbusters when we have crime in our neighborhoods?
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You must have had to beat off a lot of American men to get this part. Why does that make you giggle? Did you not have to beat them off? With Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight end Cameron Brate reportedly reworked his contract that transfers $2.4 million into a signing bonus while clearing $4.69 in cap space for the Bucks, according to Field Yates. Among the latest trends in the National Football League, due to a reduced salary cap in 2021, Brait has reportedly agreed to a reworked deal that will allow the Bucks to re-sign wide receiver Antonio Brown. Brait will receive $1.075 million in salary, including a $2.5 million signing bonus. Milwaukee Brewers left fielder Christian Yelich has resumed hitting in a cage. He has been sidelined by injury for quite some time with a lingering back issue. There is no timetable for his return to the Brewers' active roster, but the star outfielder is at least beginning to make some progress in his rehab. Star left fielder for the Texas Rangers, Chris Davis, will begin playing games at the Rangers' alternate site this week. Davis has been sidelined all this month after suffering a grade 2 strain on his left quad toward the end of spring training. He could be ready to take over as the everyday DH in Texas sometime later this week. The 33-year-old was acquired in the Elvis Andrus trade during the offseason following a poor showing at the plate in 2020. And left-handed reliever Oliver Perez, 39 years old, has been designated for assignment by the Cleveland Indians. Perez had not allowed an earned run through 5 appearances this season, but the Indians needed to clear a spot on the roster Wednesday with Nick Whitgren returning from the paternity leave list. I think everybody on the planet knows it's the National Football League draft today, but here's a reminder. The first round begins tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, with the second round beginning tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Here are how some of the big picks are lined up for tonight's action. The Jacksonville Jaguars have the number 1 pick overall and are expected to take Trevor Lawrence, with the Jets number 2 at Zach Wilson. After that, it's anybody's guess. The 49ers moved up to number 3 and are expected to take a quarterback, but the big debate is, will it be Justin Fields or Mac Jones? Atlanta holds the 4th pick, and they could go quarterback as well, or switch gears and go tight end from the University of Florida, Kyle Pitts. Other picks of interest throughout the draft, the Bengals finish out the top 5, followed by the Dolphins. Cowboys sit at number 10, the Giants 11. Patriots have the 15th pick overall. Chicago Bears draft 20th, with the Colts and Titans falling behind at 21 and 22. Kansas City and Tampa Bay will finish out the first round, with Baltimore, Jacksonville, the New York Jets, and Miami Dolphins all having 2 picks in the first round. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. It's draft day. Anything else matter? We've been prepping for 3 months for this.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. You may not like Bryce Harper. You may hate Bryce Harper, but you got to respect his manager for getting ejected for trying to eject the pitcher for hitting him in the face. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Oh, they're very nice pears, but there's so many of them. There are over a dozen pears. What am I supposed to do with all those pears?
Well, I think you're supposed to eat them.
Myself?
You and Dad and Robert.
How many pears can Robert eat? Oh, look, I appreciate the thought, Raymond, but please don't ever send us any more food again, okay?
Well, another box is coming next month.
What? More pears?
No, it's a different fruit every month.
Every month?
Yes, that's why they call it Fruit of the Month Club.
It's a club? Oh, my God, what am I going to do with all this fruit?
Well, most people like it, Ma. You share it with all your friends.
Why did you do this to me?
God.
I can't talk. There's too much fruit in the house.
Hey, Marie. Oh, Ray.
You know that the fruit keeps coming month after month? He's got us in some kind of a cult.
It's not a cult, Ma. It's a club.
What do you mean month after month? For how long?
A year.
My God, are you out of your mind? What do you think we are, invalids? We can't go out and get our own fruit?
Try to tell him.
All right, I'm canceling the fruit club.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of smacks. The all-American man.
Howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. It is draft day here on the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Matt and Gee sitting alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you? And it looks like you got a Broncos hat on.
No, I got to head over to the school and do some stuff. Local school here, repping the Cascade Champions this morning.
Gotcha. Cool stuff. The draft is tonight, 8:00 Eastern. For those of y'all who've been under a rock, it'll be on the NFL Network and ESPN. I don't think it's on anything else. I think those are the two main ones. Justin, which one do you tend to watch?
I'll probably have it on NFL Network.
You know, if I was at home, I'd probably have them both on and flip-flopping back and forth like I normally do, but I am meeting a friend up. We're hanging out and watching the draft in a Jacksonville area, so it'll really depend on where they have it. As much as I dislike ESPN, I dislike their broadcasters better, especially the NFL. The NFL Network, I don't know what it is, but a lot of their broadcasters, to me, though informative, they're a little dull at times. And I always feel like I'm watching second rate when I watch the NFL Network. But I will flip-flop. If I'm at home and I got both of them going, I'm going to flip-flop back and forth depending on who's talking, because there's certain broadcasters that I respect their opinion over than others. Like, if they go to, what the hell is his name? I'm staring at him right now on the TV. I can't think of his name.
Justin
Peter,
Waller.
Peter Schrager of the NFL Network. If that guy talks, I'm out. And he popped up on ESPN the other day, and I got confused. I don't know if he's transitioning, moving over there, but he's probably a really nice guy. He's just got one of those faces that I'm like, God, I'd like to punch him. And I've got no basis on this, by the way. It's totally asinine take by me right now. But he just has one of those faces. You're just like, Dan Orlovsky, I've got a reason why I would want to punch him, and I do not like listening to him at all. So if he's talking, I'm like, I'm out, dude. You're the dude that not you didn't just walk out the back of the end zone. You were about 10 yards behind the end zone line and still trying to pass the ball. So and you played for the Lions. Sorry, Sean. So I've got nothing for him. But big news in college football before we get into the National Football League today is this is draft day. We're going to be doing 90% NFL talk. College football, evidently, there is a growing support for not just an expansion of the playoffs, which did not shock me to hear. Justin, what shocked me was the fact that they're talking about going from 4 all the way to 12 teams. That's right, 12 teams in the college football playoffs. What say you?
I mean, honestly, I think it's too many, but if you're going to get the NCAA to change, you're probably going to have some lucrative cash rolling in to convince these old heads to change their way, and that their committee or their playoff of 4 is not the greatest thing ever invented. So to get them to lower their ego, it'd probably take cash payments, and 6 extra teams is the way you do it. I like the motto of 6. You like the outlook of 7, but to jump from 6 to 12 is where I got my 6 extra. So
gotcha.
I'm a fan of the 6. I think you should have the 5 at 1 at large and the 5 power conference winners. I see your argument with a 7 that number 1 should get a bye. So I lean towards one of them, just because I think if you open the door and you water it down and you bring everybody in, I mean, okay, Pac-12 proved us wrong in basketball this year, but are they going to do that in football? Do you really think that's going to happen? Pac-12's been left out since 2016, and I can't think of a team out there that should have been in, that had a chance to compete. When we've seen them come in, the Oregon or the Washington that's had the blip on the radar, they've gotten steamrolled. So when you put 12 in, I think you're just giving fresh blood to Clemson and Alabama and Oklahoma and Ohio State. You know, the big four that have been rotating in and out, they're just going to murder different people.
Now, the one thing I will say is I'm never going to shoot the idea down altogether. If they want to go to 12, I'm fine with it. Anything's better than this 4, okay? And the reason being is, and they're finally realizing it, people are tired of watching Clemson and Alabama invitationals every year. And you get tired of just seeing the same old thing. And with more levels.
I don't want to, walk past the Notre Dame fans. I left them out. I included Oklahoma and Ohio State. Well, Notre Dame takes their beatings too. So let's make sure we get them included.
And I'm tired of watching Notre Dame getting their ass kicked. And Notre Dame's probably tired of it. They'd like to say, hey, can we have a different level? Can we have rounds? Maybe we can win round 1, right? So I am going to preface saying I'm never going to say it's too many, because I don't want them to kill the idea altogether. And that would be my fear. But 12 is too many. And the reason why I'm talking over myself like that is when you get to 12 teams, you already play 12 regular season games. You play a 13th conference championship game, right? And then you're talking about, let's say that you're in the field of 12 and you're in the lower half. You're going to play in that first round. So I would think that the setup would be the top 8. Let me kill this music. The bottom 8 would play the top 4 get a bye. So let's say you're part of the bottom 8 and you have to play a 14th game to get to the field of 8. And then to get to the field of 8 to 4, you're going to play a 15th game. And then to get to 2, a 16th game. And then to get to the championship, 17 college football games. Dude, that's an NFL schedule. That's a little too much in my book. And so I just think the most that they should expand to is 8. The absolute most. Because you don't need 4 more games on top of your conference championship. You don't need 17 games.
Do you kill conference championships and just go to a regular season winner?
No.
Since you can have a best one and then you could at-large the second best. So essentially you could put the 2 teams that were going to play that championship in from the top 5, the 5 Power 5s. You could put the top 2, the ones that are going to be in the championship, put them in, and then you have 2 at-large bids. You could have squeezed BYU and Coastal Carolina in.
From a logical standpoint, I get where you're coming from a fiscal standpoint. They're just not going to kill the.
Well, I mean, Atlanta's not going to want it in these large cities. I get it, but how else do you squeeze it in? Do you really need to? That's what I think with 12. Okay, so let's just break this down real quick. If you take Alabama, Georgia, or I know it was Alabama, Florida this year, if I'm not mistaken. Well, you're handing a freebie to the first guy left out of the conference championship. Like, are you really obtaining what you want with this playoff?
What I like about the setup is this. I'll say this, and I don't mean to cut you off, but what I do like the format of all 5 Power 5s get an automatic bid, and a best of 5 get an automatic bid. Do you not like that? And then you just have 2, what do you call them? At-larges. And that would be decided after your conference championship. You're just not going to get rid of the conference championship because there's too much money involved. And so from a logical standpoint, if we were playing on PlayStation or something, yeah, we could get rid of the conference championship and not think anything of it. But there's so much money that goes into the conferences and the schools and the cities, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't think you're going to get rid of it.
I don't think you'll get rid of them either, but I don't understand if you have as many as 12, how you're putting the best product on the field. If we're wanting a true championship, because the top two teams that should be in that playoff are going to play in the championship game. In a normal given situation, they should. You could, SEC West, you could tell me, LSU fans, you can cry me a river about how y'all are the best and Alabama took your spot. But what happens in these situations where this year that wasn't the case? Alabama steamrolls whoever their opponent. You put Georgia or Florida, flip-flop them however. Well, now the other team that didn't get to play in the championship, that's the team that goes to the playoff. Like, they're getting rewarded a playoff trip with a number 12 because they didn't get beat down in the championship game. Like, I don't understand how you reward that third best team.
Champion is going to get an automatic bid, so you're going to want to win that conference championship.
I understand. So Alabama's in, but now do you put the Florida team that just lost, or the Georgia team that just lost, or do you put the Florida or Georgia team that didn't play? How do you break that down and put that other team in? Because you're going to need to pull a second SEC team.
If you end up with 2 at-larges as opposed to the 12, if you go 8. 2 at-larges, it's going to be critical, and you don't want to leave it up to chance. So you're going to be trying to win your conference championship. And then, no matter how many we put in, if we put 32 in, there's going to be a 33rd team saying we deserve to be in, because that's just the nature of it. But I think it's incredibly nuts to talk about doing 17 college football games for the eventual national champion and its participant. 16 seems like a hell of a lot, but I can be sold on that if 2 or 3 of them are bozos every year, right? But man, you start talking about 17, that's an NFL schedule. And I just say that's why I think they need to cut it off at 8. I think the 12 in that article made it interesting, but I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's realistic unless you're willing to, kind of like they're going to do with the bowl games, where the Rose Bowl is just going to become a game of a playoff game.
Sure.
Maybe you make conference championships round 1. There's going to have to be some creative way, because it's like you said, you got to limit it back. I think 12
for all
too many.
intents and purposes, it is round 1 because teams are getting eliminated that weekend if you only have 8 teams, right? Because if you have 5 power conference teams, and I still say, give the group of 5 a chance to get in. Maybe they'll pull off upsets, whatever. Give them a chance to get in. Now I think they have to be, at least have one of them ranked in the top 10 to put them in. Don't give me a year where like the best team is a 3-loss Tulane team of the group of 5. Now that's just garbage. But hell, maybe you have the conference, the group of 5 try to figure out a way to figure out who their best team is every year. We can talk about this more.
Just invite North Dakota State while you're at it. Let's see what they really got.
We'll bring this up to Tony tomorrow, because I'm sure he's going to have some haywire answer from a Gator fan. Well, let's make sure the University of Florida's in it every year. So, strangely enough, I do know that Tony is actually excited about the draft, and it's kind of cool to see him get excited about the National Football League. Before we get into that real quick, Braves country, last night, wow.
Thought we were saving this for Joey, but
I bet you Kyle Hendricks is just so damn happy. Oh, don't worry. We'll bring it back up. I bet he is so damn happy to not see the Atlanta Braves again this season. If you're a Braves fan and the only thing you've ever seen of Kyle Hendricks is what you've seen his last 2 innings, the guy is a really good pitcher. He's top of line pitcher. He's just having a rough patch. And during that rough patch, he's faced the Braves twice, and they have just been scalding hot while he's faced them. And it's something, sometimes certain lineups have a guy's number. I remember for years before he really became the Strasburg of 2019 that won the World Series, the Braves used to roast Steven Strasburg all the time. And it made no sense because he's a phenomenal pitcher. But man, last night, I mean, even Ozuna got into the party action.
Man, sometimes you just need a good bullpen or batting practice arm, and Hendricks has provided that twice now. Man, brutal. To see what we saw this weekend on Sunday and have no offensive performance, and then Monday you get the shootout, the back and forth, which by the way, Cubs apparently only had 7 runs in them, and they scored them all Monday. And then they get blanked 2 days in a row. It's been a phenomenal turnaround there. I think they've put up 8, 5, and 10 runs respectfully. So, 22 runs in 3 games. I like the offensive production. Keep it up, David Ross. You're managing the hell out of them.
What is it? What has been even more impressive is what Wasker has done. Look, I've been on record several times saying I prefer him in the bullpen. And granted, some of his starts have gone up against teams that you can't necessarily say are offensive juggernaut. But he pitched another great performance again last night. How late did you watch that game? Did you watch to the end?
I did not.
Anthony Rizzo striking out Freddie Freeman was some of the best baseball I've seen in a decade.
I did not know that this happened. Was this in the 9th, I assume?
Well,
I have it recorded. I will go back and watch it because them two are good friends.
It's right. It's either the bottom of the 7th or the bottom of the 8th because they didn't play the 9th because they had the lead. So I want to say it was the 8th, the 7th, bottom of the 7th. Anthony Rizzo comes in for 3 batters, and his last batter is Freddie Freeman. And Freddie Freeman's walking up to the plate laughing. Rizzo's laughing. Every time he goes to throw, he's trying to keep a straight face. Freddie Freeman ends up striking out, and it was damn hilarious. And after the strikeout, Freddie Freeman was off to the side where the visiting batter circle would be. And he's just looking back out at the mound, and he's the biggest grin. I saw the interview later on, and Freddie was talking about, and I mean, I really wish I would have gotten that clip, and I'm going to try to see if I can get that clip because it's a clip that, it's a clip that should be played over and over when LeBron James speaks. Freddie said, sports is about having fun and escaping. And if we brought smiles to people's face tonight, that's what it was about, right? And when he strikes them out, and they asked Freddie about it, he said, we've become really good friends. He goes, I really didn't want to strike out. He said, but I couldn't stop laughing. And David Ross came to make the pitching change. So Rizzo stayed in the game, but they brought in another player to pitch because he's faces 3 batters. And I noticed that David Ross made sure to keep the baseball for Rizzo and carried it to the dugout because Rizzo's going to have that thing framed in his house. That Freddie's going to come over to visit during the offseason. That thing's going to be framed again. I need you to sign something.
That's a good one. I will definitely be checking that out. I wouldn't be surprised. At the front office of the Cubs, you got any wherewithal, they would be selling high this morning. I mean, is Rizzo worth any more now? I mean, he done struck out the reigning MVP. I mean, how much you willing to pay now, Yankees? You got a closer on your hands.
Exactly. Man, it was incredible night of baseball. Even in a blowout, man, I just laughed like hell. And I'm glad I continue to watch and pay attention. A lot of times when I continue to watch, I might mute it and go to a different game because there were a lot of good games going on at once. And Bryce Harper getting hit in the face with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And I know I've been on record not liking Bryce Harper. I don't like to see that for anybody. That was scary. And then right after that, Didi Gregorius gets hit in the back with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And you almost wonder, is there something going on between the Phillies and Cardinals? Because they have played a lot to start the season off, much more than you would normally see. It's kind of like Braves and Cubs. It's like, man, I swear to God, it's like the two have played, 20 consecutive games against each other. And Girardi come flying out of the dugout. And when he came flying out of the dugout, he tried to, I was trying to find the video. I couldn't find the video, but I was laughing like hell because he was pointing at the Cardinals pitcher and he was basically ejecting him. So then the the home plate umpire came over and ejected Girardi, and Girardi was like, "How dare you eject me? You've got to eject this guy," kind of thing. And he was hot under the collar. Absolutely scary moment, but it looks like that Harper's going to be okay. He was interviewed after the game, so. But man, that's got to be a scary, scary thing. You know, I still think to this day, Giancarlo Stanton is not the same hitter that he was from, was it 3-4 years ago when he was in Miami and got hit in the face. And I know that he went to New York and he has continued to be a feared power hitter, but the way he changed his batting stance after that and the way he changed and put the face guard over, I still don't think Giancarlo Stanton was one of the best hitters in baseball, most feared hitters in baseball. He was so good. You and I were wondering how many steroids he was on, right? And he has been really, really lukewarm since he's been in New York. He's had some hot streaks and cold streaks. He's had times where he can't get on the field, but I have never feared Giancarlo Stanton like I did when he was in Miami. In Miami, it was like a movie that The Rock was starring in. You're like, oh God, this guy's coming to the plate again. I wonder what kind of effect this will have on Bryce Harper. Because you get 98 to the face, man, like that's a game changer.
It's scary. It definitely makes you gun shy, I would think, and you're probably not protecting that inside corner near as much as you have in the past. So
you're not digging in.
Man, I hate to see when they get to the head. No matter who the player, I hate to see it. I just hope as a fan there's no malicious intent there. I don't think there was. I still believe deep down inside, even when we see them and we know there's bad blood, I like to think that there's not human beings that throw 98 mile an hour at guys' faces. That when it happens, it's a slip, and that's just the way I want to think about it.
It doesn't seem like that it was. I watched quite a bit of that game. I normally have the Cardinals on it as a second screen. It didn't see, the game was close. It didn't seem like there was. I don't believe that it was intentional, either one of them. I think this guy just lost control ball, and you hate when you see it because it gets to the point where guys start getting mad because they're like, I don't give a damn if it's on accident or not. Get him off the damn mound.
I mean, Yachty's a hothead. I ain't gonna put it past him that maybe ain't somebody jawed off up behind the plate and he asked for a little, let's buzz the tower. And Yachty's Yachty.
Yeah. But I don't think that he meant to hit him in the face, right?
No. I agree. I
hope not.
Yeah. I don't want to think that we've got a player out on the field that's doing that intentionally.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Joey Ariola will be joining us, and we're doing Titans, we're doing Jaguars, and we're doing the Colts picks today. We'll be back in a flash on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
You're a cop, huh? No, what I am, Sonny, is about 50 pounds heavier and one hell of a lot meaner, so you better straighten up your act. I don't think I like it.
The snapper is Robert Shimer, a sophomore out of Thomasville, Georgia. The holder is Matthew Motley, a senior from Opelika, and Wes Byram, a freshman out of Fort Lauderdale, trying to put it through to give Auburn the win. Here's the snap, the place, the kick is up, the kick is long enough, the kick is good! Good! See you later, alligator! Tigers win! 20-17! I hope Lee Corso and Kirk Street never pick Auburn to have a chance again.
Being number 2, being number 4.
It all starts with just one thing. Glass jars can be reused to store food and spices, as a holder for combs and brushes in the bathroom, or as a container for plants and homemade candles, in addition to simply being recycled. Find tips and more at onethingus.com.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If we actually enjoyed our New Year's resolutions, we'd all have six packs, money in our saving accounts, and we'd know how to play the piano. I have to tell you about the one resolution I actually enjoy. It's Built Bar. It's delicious. Oh, yeah, it's healthy too. Built Bar is healthier than your favorite protein bar. They're low-cal, low sugar, high protein, high fiber, great for the keto diet. Lose or maintain weight while indulging. And with only 4 net carbs and 150 calories, there's no guilt. Visit BuiltBar.com.
Make contact. A collective psychosis is sweeping the nation. We're in the thick of the haze craze, and Elysian is introducing an altered state of IPA. Contact Haze is a tangled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma. This hazy IPA bursts with notes of bright raspberry, currant, citrus, guava, and passion fruit. Available in 6-pack cans in stores and at all Seattle Elysian locations. Make contact. You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m.
This is Principal O'Shaughnessy. Students, please report to the gymnasium for your club photos.
Fake announcement.
Good morning, CBS Radio. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Joey Ariola joining us. Joey, how the hell are you, sir?
It's draft day, baby. Ready to go. Not talking baseball, I don't know what that series is. I don't know what happened the past 3 days.
Well, we're going to change the script for the next half hour. We're going to break down the Braves Cubs series.
I'll tell you what you got to start with, 1 run. That's where you need to start. Figure out how to plate the 1. And we're about to get blown out like 22-0 because me and you are talking smack, Mac.
Yeah. Well, and today Bryce Wilson is going to pitch off a short rest. So it's essentially a bullpen game. So I'm like,
the draft's going on.
Did oh man. I'm like, what are you doing, man? What? So it makes me maybe he's going to bring Kyle Wright up for tomorrow. I don't know what he's going to do for tomorrow because you can't have everyone go pitch on short rest now. This isn't October, man. Relax. He made that announcement last night during the press conference that that Wilson's going to go off a short rest. I'm like, he's not even pitching that well on regular rest. What are you doing to us, man? I do know that they're saying Max Fried could be back in the next few days, so maybe that's playing into this. Maybe he'll come back as early as Friday. Maybe that's got something to do with it. But anyways, Bryce Wilson tonight, and the kid that the Cubs have going for him has actually pitched pretty well this year. What the heck is his name?
Alzolay.
Yeah, Alzolay.
That's how you pronounce it. Okay, Alzolay. I always see it. I'm like, I don't know how the hell that guy pronounces that name. Okay. I looked up his stats this morning, and he's actually pitched pretty well. So I think the Braves might be in for some trouble, which is good that the NFL draft is here. So let's get into what's happening, and then we'll dive into the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the Colts picks, the Titans picks, and the Jags picks. But before we do that, I want to get you caught up on what is happening, and actually quite a few things happened in the world of sports last night. We already told you about Bryce Harper getting hit in the face. He does look to be okay. Teddy Bridgewater was traded to the Denver Broncos. I don't know if that's a good thing for the Broncos or not, but Teddy Bridgewater is heading your way. Rumor has it the 76ers are looking to sign and trade for Kyle Lowry in the offseason. They tried like hell to get him in the offseason, and before the trading deadline, it did not work out. And on the scoreboard last night, the Braves blanked the Cubs 10-0. Kyle Hendricks, 3 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. Man, it is going to take a while for that guy to get his ERA back down. In the Philly-St. Louis game, the Phillies walked away with the W. The Mets lose with DeGrom on the mound. They lose 1-0. DeGrom becomes the second player ever to have 59 Ks through 5 starts in a major league season. And yet he gets another loss. Unbelievable. Outpitched by Nick Pivetta. A lot of people would probably recognize that name. Washington wins. The Braves are now back in first place. They're tied with the Philadelphia Phillies. The Mets are just a half game out. And Tampa wins 2-0 over Oakland. Glasnow, 7 innings and 10 Ks. And your Los Angeles Angels beat the Texas Rangers 4-3, in case you missed that over the evening. And also the New York Giants, they have exercised the 5th year on Saquon Barkley's rookie year deal. So that is in place now for the Giants. And that is what is happening here in the world of sports. So, with all that being said, we're going to dive right into the NFL draft because we'll run out of time before you know it on here. Maybe we go first round, second round, and whoever's got the round, whoever has the picks. I know I gave what Justin, you're going what rounds? I don't know why I don't have that written down. Is it 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 that you have?
1 through 3.
Okay. And then Joey, you've got what, the first 3 picks?
1, 2, and 4. The Colts third rounders currently invalid.
Right. And then I'm going to take the Jaguars all the way to the 3rd round. They do have 5 total picks there as well. All right. So obviously I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I mean, there's no doubt that that's what they're doing. Trevor Lawrence will be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. And then I believe it's almost a slam dunk that Zach Wilson goes number 2, unless something crazy comes out between now and draft time about his personal life or something. And then that's when nobody really knows, because pick 3 could be in your heart of hearts, Justin, who's going to be the 3rd pick?
Pitts.
What?
Yeah.
To San Fran?
Yeah, I don't think they take either one of them. Jones. They'll take Jones.
Wow.
I don't think they're taking Fields, and I don't think there's enough on Lance right now to for them at a number 3. If they're not sold on Jones, I think you've almost talked me into that, lining up Kittle and Pitts and being the most deadly tight end combination in the NFL. Does it really matter who's throwing the ball to them? I mean, does it?
That would be a boat rocker right there.
That one really questions. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know that they're fully sold. I think it will be Jones, but it would not shock me if they didn't do something silly. Like, I mean, I don't know that Pitts is silly if you think he's a better talent than Jones long term.
No, but when you trade up to the number 3 pick and you haven't been happy with your quarterback,
I have to remind myself that they traded up to get there, and that's why I think it'll be Jones. But if they're backstroking or for some reason they've decided they don't like the move they're in now, why not capitalize with another generational tight end?
Joey, who goes number 3 overall?
I'm gonna go with Trey Lance. I just think that the 49ers do see. Wow. I think the 49ers see a project there that they could really develop quickly. I know Kaepernick was a long time ago before all the crap started with him. He was actually molding well into a system they like down there. I think they kind of do the same thing with Trey Lance and get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. I could see him ending up with New England. I saw reports last night that Patriots are trying to get back in the swing of things to get Jimmy G back on their side.
Now, I can see Jimmy G going to New England, whether that's via trade or they're going to cut him, and however that mess clears out. But I would be shocked that you trade up for the number 3 pick in the draft and you draft a project. Because if Trey Lance is your starter at week 1, you've got some issues. He's not going to be ready.
Do they know something we don't know? One of the top 2 not taking a quarterback, and we just all think it's going to be.
Probably not.
I mean, the Jets are the Jets, man.
The Jets aren't. The Jets are going quarterback now. Whether or not they change their mind off of Zach Wilson would be interesting, but I think Zach Wilson's heading to New York. There's just been too many praises thrown his way. It's almost as big a slam dunk as it is Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville.
I don't know, man. My gut says there's a Daniel Jones surprise tonight that nobody sees coming. I mean, maybe it's just the inner fan in me, and I'm just pulling so hard that it's Jacksonville and that Urban Meyer outsmarts himself and does something really stupid, but that's probably just my inner Titan that's not happening. But I want to sit back and hope it does. I mean,
if he hadn't been on record so many times when he was doing college broadcasting, talking about how great that he thought that Trevor Lawrence was, I could almost buy into that.
If he wasn't on TV so much talking about how he was done coaching football and he had medical issues, I would buy that too. And that he prayed with Aaron Hernandez and every single night at their family little gatherings and meetings. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of stories out of Urban. I don't know which ones are true and which ones aren't.
I know one to be true. Trevor Lawrence is heading to Jacksonville, and that's just the way it's going to be. Now, whether or not he ends up being – I still wonder in my heart of hearts if he's the best quarterback on the board. The thing is, we haven't watched Zach Wilson enough, right? And we damn sure haven't watched him enough in pressure situations because he played at BYU. And not only are their games not as monumental, but they don't typically end up on national television. I remember a couple of years ago, you had to fight to find BYU football on something called the BYU Network that it was only on DirecTV, and you had to order it. And I was like, I ain't ordering that junk.
Knoxville and beat Tennessee.
Now that was on national television, but I'm talking about your typical,
you didn't have to go far.
I'm talking about your typical BYU game was not on TV, so we've just been used to Trevor Lawrence, and he has been great. I don't know that he's necessarily better than Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. I think the number 3 pick could be the first shocker. I think it could be Justin Fields. I think this could be a lot of big smoke screen. If it was Mac Jones, why would you trade up to number 3 is my only question. Because until the rumors started coming out to how high they were on Mac Jones in San Francisco, he was not looked upon as the 3rd best quarterback in the draft. In fact, most people had him number 5. And it's mainly because of his mobility. I'm pulling for Mac Jones like no other. Mac Jones, for people who don't realize this, he played high school football about 5 miles from my house. Okay. So even though he's a Bama kid, he's now in the NFL. I can pull for him. But I just don't know if that's who you draft when you go up that high. Do you not want the best athlete available? If you want the best athlete in overall, I think it's Justin Fields. I really do. And even if
I'm in agreement with Fields.
Even if I didn't believe that, ESPN has white guilted me into it. No, seriously. I think Justin Fields, I think ESPN has stolen what is important in this draft. And that is you get your best player available. And I think Justin Fields can be up there with the rest of them. I have had questions with him, but he erased a lot of those doubts with me in the Clemson game.
Yep.
But Trey Lance would be a huge reach for me because number 3 pick overall, that dude better be able to play in week 1. And I don't think he's ready to play in week 1 in 2021, maybe 2022.
I agree with the Fields part. I just, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like San Fran might be Lance's fit, but I love Justin Fields as I know we'll talk about the quarterbacks, but he's my 2nd favorite quarterback in this draft.
I like Lance going to San Fran before they traded up.
Fair.
When you trade up, it immediately throws Lance out the window for me because my first thought is, well, he was going to be there anyways. Why the hell are you trading up?
What was their original pick before trade? Do you
oh
remember?
God, it's been so long. Where does
it wasn't a monumental jump. They were in top the upper half, weren't they?
Hold on 1 second. I got it. Because they traded with Houston, right?
Yes.
Or was it?
Or it come by way of Houston is what it's showing.
It was Miami's pick, right? Originally.
Is that the Laramie Tunsil trade where the first round pick from all that they acquired from Houston? Is that why it shows Houston's pick? It actually came from Miami.
Let me get the draft order.
That does sound right, Justin.
Because on the draft order, it just says that it's from Houston, but I know Houston didn't have a first round draft pick, so it had to be coming from the Dolphins.
Miami traded with San Fran, moved down, and then Miami traded with the Eagles and moved up, which means San Fran originally had the 12th pick.
Gotcha.
So Trey Lance would have probably have been there. I think Mac Jones might have been there. We didn't hear this Mac Jones hype until they believed that San Fran was going that way, and they believed that. Why? What was the biggest reason why? Because they heard or saw Mac Jones and Shanahan getting along during the pro day and joking around, laughing. The hell, they could have been laughing about anything. They could have been laughing about the Chicago Cubs starting rotation. We don't know.
Zinger!
Never back.
I mean, Mac Jones could have told him he would have kept running the football. I mean, that could have been what they were laughing at. That's why. What's so crazy about keeping Jimmy G? He got you to a Super Bowl. You stopped running the football.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the injury concerns.
Anyways, we got to move on. We've only gone to one pick in the first round, and I've gotten a sidetrack 15 minutes later. Where are the Colts go first. Where are the Colts going in the first round, Joey?
Well, the two biggest positional needs are tackle and edge. If Quiddy pays there, I would go him, pick 21 out of Michigan. If he's not there, I would go Tevin Jenkins, tackle out of Oklahoma State. But my ideal pick is Quiddy Pay, edge rusher, Michigan.
I hope you're wrong, because I think that's what the Titans need. But just the Titans going to go, since the problem is normally there's a lot of edge rushers out there that are first round worthy. This year doesn't seem like it, although that's probably the Titans' biggest need, right? But you don't want to stretch, you don't want to just reach.
I mean, they did bring in some defensive line help. I believe it was Otrick from the Colts. You brought in Bud Dupree, help a little rush. So, I mean, it's not the glaring need that we need to go in. Right now, cornerback is the glaring need. And with Patrick Surtain most likely off the board at 22, I'm going to stick with my pick that we had in our draft. I like Caleb Farley. Everything I hear and folks on the radio.
He's got COVID.
I don't care. Whole team of the Titans had COVID. We didn't get rid of them, did we? I mean, we kept them. We didn't release them.
We'll show them in practice.
Yeah, I mean, we'll teach them the ropes. His back issue hurt a lot of. I mean, that's been the talk on the radio this week, is diagnosing. You've got every armchair neurosurgeon talking about his back issue and what it means. Can he come back? They've done their due diligence. They were right on Simmons, I believe. If they feel he's healthy, I think Caleb Farley's the pick. You take an elite corner, and you shore up this defense.
If he is still there, I think the pick for the Jaguars at number 25 is Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle out of Bama. The one caveat to that is I don't know if he's going to be there. That's a long way for the elite defensive tackle to fall. But regardless, Urban Meyer likes to build through his defensive line. He's always said that. If he's not there and Jalen Phillips at the University of Miami is, that's what I think the Jaguars take. If there's an elite defensive lineman still out there at number 25, that's where Jacksonville's going.
See, that'd be a great number 1 pick, and then you could come back with Kyle Trask with 25, yeah. Still can't talk you into it, man. Hey, Joey, do you want to see Trevor Lawrence down there for the next 10 years, 15 years? I mean, I'm just hoping for a little miracle tonight.
I mean, I don't personally, but it's got to be the pick. He's the best prospect since Luck, they say. So,
yeah, well, he retired.
I think Lawrence might too. I hope.
He's going to pull a locker. You're going to get 3 years and he's done. Because he's got nothing to prove. Your little article that Sports Illustrated sent us says so.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what about that storyline? That'd be awesome.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. This is now Trevorville. Okay, they've renamed.
Wait a
it
minute.
Trevorville.
I thought it was Minshew Maniaville. So this is a recurring thing. Every year it's a new quarterback. Okay.
Yeah.
No word.
Hey man,
What if Trevor pulls an Eli?
Don't be a hater. What do you mean an Eli?
He just don't want to play for you.
Or he could pull an Eli and win 2 Super Bowls.
Oh.
For another team that didn't draft him. Whoa.
Probably not. When he was drafted, they knew he wasn't staying. So
I know that was a predetermined swapperoo. They had that.
Right, we got to get moving. So we get to the second round, and I think offensive tackle is going to be you get Trevor Lawrence, okay, and you get your defensive lineman, and then I think it's going to go to an offensive lineman because, I mean, Cam Robinson was franchised by this team. That tells you how bad we are on offensive line. And the guy that I've got ranked up there is Dylan Redunds from North Dakota State. And so I like him as the pick on the first pick of the second round for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't have it in front of me. Let me see real quick. Who is next on the board? I would think it would be the Colts. No, it's the Titans. The Titans had the 53rd pick. Justin, where are they going?
I think we will circle back wide receiver here if we went cornerback in the first. It's really odd because it's hard to predict who's there. I think Elijah Moore will be gone by second round. I think somebody takes him in the first, in between Rondell Moore and Cade Johnson. I'm going to go Cade Johnson. I think he's more Elijah Moore-esque, the San Diego State wide receiver. So I'll go Cade Johnson. Second
Josh
round.
Palmer.
Do what?
Not Josh
No,
Palmer.
I got my Carolina Panthers getting him.
Oh, okay.
Good 50-50 guy. Don't know much about, have bad quarterback play. Now he's got a true quarterback in Darnold, but he's not underneath Gase, so should have an elite NFL career. Yeah.
Tamarian Skillet Hands Terry will still be there.
Well, Scary Terry, we don't need a burn. We got A.J. Brown. We need a good slot cross. We need a guy that'll get dirty and catch.
He's open. He just may not catch it when you get it to him. He's like Kenny Britt.
Well, he can't catch.
Tamarian Terry couldn't even catch the coronavirus. I mean that's where we're at with him. Okay, so the next pick would be the Colts, and I guess I skipped over the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars were picking 45th, so I guess they need to go and throw that one in there. I've got the offensive lineman. I cannot pronounce this dude's name. What the hell? I should have just drafted anyone named Jones. Quinn Meinertz out of Wisconsin Whitewater is where I had the Jaguars going offensive line in the second round on both picks.
Yep.
That's the short of it. I don't know how to pronounce the dude's name, but he's ranked high, and that's where we're at with that. All right. Where are you going, Joey, with the second round pick?
All right, since we did edge rusher and address the defensive need, I'm going to get my Anthony Costanzo replacement here and go Sam Cosmi, O-tackle out of Texas. I think in getting both the trenches done, like I said, we lost a couple of pieces, Houston on defense, Costanzo on offense. So I address both needs, and we'll go Sam Cosmi, O-tackle out of Texas.
Okay. Yeah, that was the other one that was ranked right there along with the guy that I took with the first pick, Dylan Redunds. But I don't know. It seems like the offensive linemen, if you get from obscure colleges, they tend to do better. So that was kind of my thinking. Plus he rated really well on NFL.com. So I believe the next pick, so that heads us to the third round, correct? And the Jaguars pick at number 65, and that's the last pick that I have written for the Jaguars. And I'm going to go defensive back at this point because they've got to start doing something about that secondary. And you've got a quarterback. You've kind of bolstered the defensive line and offensive line. And so now let me get to, here it is, number 65 overall. The Jacksonville Jaguars have got to find a way to stop some of these great wide receivers that are in their division. And that's where we're going to go with Tay Gowan of Central Florida, cornerback. The kind of spells what they need to be able to, because you got to slow down AJ Brown at some point, right? And you're going to have to try to. You want a defensive back to get all the interceptions that Carson Wentz is going to throw.
Man, I know. Come on, man.
and then you might still be dealing with the other Deshaun Watson. I don't believe he's going anywhere at this point. I think he's damaged goods, but he's still a hell of a quarterback. So that's where I'll go with that. So who has the next pick? Is it the Colts?
We don't have a round 3.
So the Titans have the next pick. Okay. Justin, where are you going with that?
Well, I've addressed cornerback and wide receiver. Now I'm torn. I'm in between edge rush and offensive line. Offensive line's a little bit deeper. Cosme was going to be my third pick if he fell there. I'm in between Trey Smith, offensive tackle at Tennessee. The heart issues concern me, even though he's been given a clean bill of health. So I'm going to go back to offensive line in round 4. I'll take edge rush, and we'll go Perkins out of Oklahoma.
Okay.
That seems to be a guy that this regime is talked really highly about. So Perkins and Moore is what I've heard the most grumblings about. So I know there's internal interest with that pick, and it's being rumored to be in that third round range if he's sitting there.
I also kind of liked him with possibly going Ben Cleveland there from Georgia, offensive guard.
You've lost your mind if you think we're drafting another Bulldog. After Isaiah Wilson, come on.
I didn't think about that.
We're like Florida fans. We're anti-Georgia now. I mean, that's the one thing me and Tony can agree on.
So who has the next pick? Jacksonville is done. Are the Titans done, Justin, or do they still?
They are. That's their end of their third.
Okay, so where are you going, Mr. Colt?
I want to get a weapon here, whether it be tight end or receiver. Some receivers left on the board. Seth Williams, wide receiver out of Auburn, could be possible. Even Terry from Florida State, if he's still somehow around.
Don't do it.
I'm just the receiver. It's a deep receiver class, but I also like Terry Trumbull, tight end in Notre Dame. So whatever weapon is there to complement. I think our offensive line and D line are set now. So let's get a weapon. If I had to say Seth Williams, wide receiver, Auburn.
I'm not saying Terry can't do anything in the NFL, but he was an extreme disappointment coming back his last year. Him and Marvin Wilson's not even on anyone's radar, and that's insane. That guy was being projected as a first-round pick last year. I don't know. Terry's a guy that I would throw a dart at in the 5th or 6th, maybe 7th round, and just say, if you produce, that's great, but I'm not expecting anything from it. See, we'll have to punt some of this stuff into the second hour. Justin, do you got any busts or sleepers or anything like that you want to throw at us before you get out of here?
I mean, not so much bust or sleepers other than I really don't think we're going to see the top end go the way we do. I think the 49ers will be the secret, and running backs I think will go higher than we've seen in the past. I don't know why, but the Steelers sitting there in the first round just scream Najee Harris to me. I think that's what we did in that draft or ETN, whichever one is sitting there.
Very late.
When's the last time we saw one in the first round? Henry was first pick of the second round, so that doesn't count. But you just don't see first round backs anymore.
Well, I know the Chiefs drafted CEH in the first round last year. I want to say he might have been the second running back to go, but I do know he was.
That was the last pick, was it not? That was off their Super Bowl season. Yeah.
Yep. Then after that was Jonathan Taylor. Those were the top 3 backs.
Was Jonathan Taylor drafted in the first round or
second round, like pick 34, 38 or something like that?
You said the top 3. Who was the third one?
It was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor. I'm missing the other guy's name off the top of my head. I'd have to
okay. I thought you had it in front of you.
Sorry.
Before we head to break, do you have a shocker for tonight?
Every mock draft I've seen has Pitts going to Atlanta. Justin was mentioning them too some. I think they go quarterback, Mac Jones, and they actually develop him behind Matt Ryan for a couple of years. Everyone has him going Pitts. I see him going QB or developmental QB.
I think Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick getting a pissing contest for Pitts and quarterbacks, and we're going to see some stupid trades in the first few minutes of this draft.
I think the Bengals are going to shock everybody and take a receiver at that 5th pick. And you're going to want it to be Sewell, and I know most Bengal fans would say Sewell. I've just got this feeling that they're going to go find another weapon, and it'll either be Chase or Smith, depending on who they have ranked high. But if they do that, does that put a change into the entire draft? Because then there are going to be teams that might be jockeying to trade up to Miami to get Sewell at that point.
Are you guys getting the grumblings on Sewell and his off the field might make him fall? Because, and I don't know if that's just the gun shyness after Isaiah Wilson here in the Nashville market, but that's the grumblings that we're hearing.
What was his? No, I haven't heard that. I mean, was he a party kid or something?
It hasn't really been elaborated. They're trying to blast the guy. There's just some questions, just like the defensive tackle out of Alabama. They're saying that he had some problems with coaching. Well, you don't play for Alabama that long and are uncoachable. I mean, maybe he just didn't initially like the Nick Saban system, but he stuck it out. I wouldn't call the kid uncoachable. So you're seeing him move a little bit, but they're not labeling exactly what it is, but there were no reports on Wilson. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm excited to see what Cleveland does with the city draft, meaning will it be anything like Nashville? They're saying they're expecting 50,000 people. But I don't know if it'll be set up the same way, because Nashville, it was like a whole strip and all kinds of things to do. Cleveland,
that was awesome.
Cleveland, I wonder if it's going to be like centralized or, how they're going to do it.
Let's just fix this and bring the draft back home to Nashville. We know how to do it right.
What's your walk-off, sir?
It's draft day. Enjoy. Good luck to each and every one of you. Anybody other than the Titans, I hope you all fail and tighten up.
All right, brother. See you tomorrow.
Hey, how's it going? Coming through here. Hey, buddy, what can I get you? I'll have a beer. Come right up. Great place you got here. Oh, thanks, man. Enjoy. Thanks. Hey, you want to hear a great joke about women?
Oh, hey, buddy. You might want to know that there's a female bodybuilder to your right, a female biker to your left, and there's a female black belt behind you. Sure you want to still tell the joke?
Nah. I don't feel like having to explain it 3 times.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight end Cameron Brate reportedly reworked his contract that transfers $2.4 million into a signing bonus while clearing $4.69 in cap space for the Bucs, according to Field Yates. Among the latest trends in the National Football League, due to a reduced salary cap in 2021, Brait has reportedly agreed to a reworked deal that will allow the Bucs to re-sign wide receiver Antonio Brown. Brait will receive $1.075 million in salary, including a $2.5 million signing bonus. Milwaukee Brewers left fielder Christian Yelich has resumed hitting in a cage. He has been sidelined by injury for quite some time with a lingering back issue. There is no timetable for his return to the Brewers' active roster, but the star outfielder is at least beginning to make some progress in his rehab. Star left fielder for the Texas Rangers, Chris Davis, will begin playing games at the Rangers' alternate site this week. Davis has been sidelined all this month after suffering a grade 2 strain on his left quad toward the end of spring training. He could be ready to take over as the everyday DH in Texas sometime later this week. The 33-year-old was acquired in the Elvis Andrus trade during the offseason following a poor showing at the plate in 2020. And left-handed reliever Oliver Perez, 39 years old, has been designated for assignment by the Cleveland Indians. Perez had not allowed an earned run through 5 appearances this season, but the Indians needed to clear a spot on the roster Wednesday with Nick Whitgren returning from the paternity leave list. I think everybody on the planet knows it's the National Football League draft today, but here's a reminder. The first round begins tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, with the second round beginning tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Here are how some of the big picks are lined up for tonight's action. The Jacksonville Jaguars have the number 1 pick overall and are expected to take Trevor Lawrence, with the Jets number 2 at Zach Wilson. After that, it's anybody's guess. The 49ers moved up to number 3 and are expected to take a quarterback, but the big debate is, will it be Justin Fields or Mac Jones? Atlanta holds the 4th pick, and they could go quarterback as well, or switch gears and go tight end from the University of Florida, Kyle Pitts. Other picks of interest throughout the draft: the Bengals finish out the top 5, followed by the Dolphins. Cowboys sit at number 10, the Giants 11. Patriots have the 15th pick overall. Chicago Bears draft 20th, with the Colts and Titans falling behind at 21 and 22. Kansas City and Tampa Bay will finish out the first round, with Baltimore, Jacksonville, the New York Jets, and Miami Dolphins all having 2 picks in the first round. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's Almost Good Beer. Remember, Ed's Almost Good Beer was brewed in God's country when God wasn't looking.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Welcome to the jungle. Jim Rome on the air, noon to 3 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Radio.
Good morning. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. CBS Sports Radio with Joey Ariola. Is it Ariola or Ariola?
Ariola.
Ariola. Joey Ariola. We're getting ready for the draft. Joey's excited for his Colts. They've already got their quarterback for 2021, so they're going to try to build around that. They've got their running backs. They've got their receivers realistically. So I'm with you. I think they're going to try to go line, most likely defensive line.
Hit the trenches.
unless like something ridiculous falls in their lap, then you have to think twice about, like, if something stupid happened, like Devontae Smith is sitting there, then you're like, I can't just, I'm not going to let the Titans get him. I've got to draft him, right? So you're always drafting against your division, and the fact that they're sitting right next to each other for the first few rounds is it'll be interesting to see how they react. Look, if Pitts goes to the 49ers, like we were talking about, they've got the 43rd pick overall in the second round. They could very well go back and grab a quarterback at that point. That's not out of the realm of possibility. And I think guys like Kyle Trask could be there, but the interesting one would be, what about a hometown kid like Davis Mills, who would just transfer from Stanford over to the San Francisco 49ers?
You know, so Colts are always one of those teams. Chris Ballard does a lot of trading down. So if San Fran was looking to go up, I could see that being a possibility. I've seen that Stanford guy in some mock drafts. Seen him to the Bucs a couple of times at the end, even though I don't agree with that. But seems like the end of that first round, beginning of the second round type of guy, him and Trask fall into that area. And if the 49ers do decide to go Pitts at 3, I could easily see them trying to move up maybe 8 to 10 spots to get back in and get one of the 5-6 ranked quarterbacks.
I believe there's a huge drop off after that. If you don't get your quarterback in the first 7, I just don't think Kellen Mond is an NFL quarterback on any level. Not for this year and probably not next year. If you draft Kellen Mond, he is a flat out project. Same thing with Ellinger. Mond is his problem is he's not a very accurate passer. And then Ellinger, I just don't think he has the arm strength. Jamie Newman, Ian Book, looking at all these names. One of the best raw talents would be Felipe Franks, and that's coming out, Arkansas. But before that, he played for the Gators, and him and Shane Buechele are the two of the most intriguing quarterbacks. But let's rank our top 6 quarterbacks, the 6 that everyone pretty much has in their vocabulary. How are you ranking your top 6?
Okay, so I know I did say Trey Lance 3rd. That's just because I was trying to, be a little shocking 49ers up there. But in my eyes, Lawrence obviously number 1. I agree with you when you brought up the Fields point after the playoffs. I was sold on him then as the number 2 guy. I don't know why so many people try to change the narrative from the playoff throughout the draft process, because in my eyes, he's my number 2. The play on the field proved that. I'm going to go Zach Wilson 3, Mac Jones 4, Trey Lance 5, Kyle Trask 6. And that's my top 6.
All right. Mine is, you got to go Trevor Lawrence number 1 until he proves otherwise. He's the best quarterback in the draft. And then number 2 to me is one of the most intriguing spots, because you could argue your way with 3 different guys.
Yep.
In my opinion. But I'm going to stick with Zach Wilson as my number 2 guy, with Justin Fields as my number 3 guy, and Mac Jones as the number 4 guy. Fields, to me, what he lacks is he has not been as accurate as he was against Clemson, and phenomenal as he was against Clemson. He's also had a lot of duds. So that concerns me a little bit, but he's such a great athlete. I've got to put him at number 3. Wilson and Lawrence to me are the more accurate passers, and Mac Jones is a much more accurate passer. But because Mac Jones does not have the mobility, you have to rate him down. That doesn't mean I wouldn't want to draft him at number 3, but it just, when you're looking at today's NFL and the fact that they like having the mobile quarterback, you've got to rank Mac Jones below that. And then you've got the possibly the best athlete of the bunch, Trey Lance. I've got him down to number 6. I think Kyle Trask is going to be a better quarterback than Trey Lance, at least in the first year. And if I'm going to draft a quarterback in the first round, that dude is better be ready to play week 1. Kyle Trask, I could see that. I could see any of the other guys I mentioned, but I think Trey Lance is a project, and I don't believe he would be ready to play best case scenario midway through 2021 season.
Well, the hype was there on Trask. I don't know what happened. It seemed like everybody was so high on him early in the season. Then towards the end of it, he faded off. But I'm actually a Kyle Trask fan too. I didn't
say I was a fan. He's a Gator. I'm not a fan.
No, I'm not saying a fan, but you have him ahead of Trey Lance. When I mean just to play on the field, I like Trask being ready, more NFL ready than a couple of these guys at the same time. I know you're not going Gator country.
No. But Kyle Trask has impressed me. All jokes aside, I don't hold that against these kids once they get into the NFL draft, because you want the best player available for your team. And they're very good football players that play at the University of Florida. Doesn't mean I pulled for them when they were wearing the blue and orange, but I won't pull against them necessarily when they get outside of that. The NFL, we all know the one thing that's going to happen tonight is that someone's going to draft an incredible bust. It's going to happen. There's no way it doesn't. There's a bust every year. There's usually several busts every year. But tonight, who is the bust that you're going to say that the team a couple of years from now are going to say, I cannot believe we drafted that guy that high?
It's probably this could be a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to say the Giants will be disappointed in taking Alabama wide receiver Mr. Waddle. And I'm going to say that's going to be my guy who, everyone's high on both Bama receivers. I think one out of two, that's just how I usually do it, will work out. And I don't see Mr. Waddle working out in the NFL.
And I'm telling you, Waddle, before he got hurt, he was the best receiver on the team. Go back and watch those tapes. Waddle was a badass.
Oh, and I understand.
I can't argue with the fact that, look, they've had a lot of really good receivers come out of Alabama. Someone's got to be a bust at some point.
And with having two guys, pre-injury, you're right. He's a phenomenal talent. There is no stopping that. But once one injury happens, we've seen it once. We've seen it before. It could haunt you. And I just think both these guys aren't going to be stars in the NFL for some reason. So I'm going to go with Waddle being, unfortunately for the New York Giants, who have some questionable picks with Daniel Jones, and moving forward, I think this won't help them out.
All right, so the bust that I'm looking at, the guy that I'm like, man, I just don't know if I would draft this guy, especially in the first round. Some people have him in the first round, some people do not. But what concerns me the most about, where's he projected here? The one that I'm looking at right here, Terrence Marshall is projected at the 22nd pick, right?
That'd be Tennessee, correct?
Right. And then the other one, where's he at? Jamar Chase. What will be, I know he had phenomenal 2019, but being away from the game this long, is that going to hurt him? And you're going to draft him really, really high, and everyone's super high on him because he had a phenomenal 2019 season, but he didn't play because of the pandemic in 2020. That would make me a little nervous drafting a guy in the top 10.
Well, and that's why, even though I think he had one weird game last year, but Trey Lance, these players that haven't played in about a year, it does scare me. And the fact that you can't replicate on the field stuff off the field, no matter what you do.
I think the obvious bust would be Trey Lance if he gets drafted super high. The only reason why I didn't pick him is because I felt like I'm piling on and just becoming a Trey Lance hater, and I'm not. I'm pulling for the kid. I would well. But Trey Lance, if he goes in the top 10, scares the hell out of me. If you draft him later in the first round as a project and you've got someone he can sit behind for a year or two, he doesn't scare me as much. But there were talks about like the Denver Broncos drafting him. There were talks about him going to possibly Detroit. That could be an absolute disaster. Trey Lance to the Detroit Lions, never heard from again.
I know, and I know your buddy yesterday was on with the Lions. It just, I don't even know. They have golf. If they brought in that, they could be in a bad spot for a long time. Sometimes when you think you have two quarterbacks, you have zero, as we all know.
Yeah, I don't tend to go on defense when it comes to busts because usually those metrics are laid out pretty well. And one of the guys that I'm high on is the kid from South Carolina, J.C. Horn. So that leads me to who is a sleeper that you like in the draft that may not go as high as you think that he is projected? Because I think J.C. Horn is a guy that's a top 10 defensive player, or I'm sorry, top 10 pick. And I think he's going to fall to like the late teens, early 20s.
First off, I love J.C. Horn. If he's there by 21, I would not mind if the Colts went that direction. I know I didn't say that in any of my rounds, but I think he's such a superb talent that I agree. I'm going to give one obvious name, that being Najee Harris. I think if this was 10 to 15 years ago, this guy's a top 10 pick. He's built like a mammoth. I like the Steelers' idea from Justin. He's just going to be a great running back in this league, but I just know how the running backs go these days. My other guy, I think Jason Oweh out of Penn State. They have him more towards the back end of the first round. I put him up in the upper echelons with the Payets from Michigan, in my eyes, after watching the tape. So the Penn State DN, they have him back end of the first round, like Harris. I think these guys could easily be in the teens if for talent reasons.
I'll tell you another guy that I've got my eye on as an interesting sleeper, because I looked him up in 3 different mock drafts, and they all have him in the second round. And I think he's a first round talent. Is the offensive tackle out of Alabama, Alex Leatherwood. Look, that kid was dominant in college. And when you have an Alabama offensive lineman, dude, I'm not even losing sleep over it. I'm drafting. I don't even have to recruit him, or I'm sorry, scout him. I'm just going to go, he played an offensive line in Alabama, but he's pretty damn good. We'll be all right for the next 10 years. Let's grab that guy. And I'm a little surprised that he keeps falling. Every time I see a new mock draft, he was starting in the first round, the first ones that I saw. And like the most recent one, I saw him fall to number 46 overall. And to me, that's insane. That someone in such a critical position, and some have him as a right tackle, but I think he could play left tackle. Such a critical position that he would fall all the way into midway through the second round.
No, I mean, I'm very happy with Ryan Kelly out of Alabama, his Colts center for years now. So Bama linemen are the way to go. One real quick note, that guy Darisaw, seen a sour note on him lately that he doesn't really want to get in the gym and feel motivated. That's just a little lineman tidbit.
Who was that again? I'm sorry.
Christian Darisaw. He's projected in like the early 20s to upper teens. He's a tackle. Just getting a lot of things lately on how he's not really motivated to get back in the gym or anything like that. So if I'm between him and a Bama guy, I think I'd rather go with your Bama guy, the hard-nosed trenches.
Exactly. I mean, hell, give me Landon Dickerson. I mean, give me anyone who played the offensive line for the University of Alabama for the last several years, and I guarantee you he's doing all right. Anyone that started.
Amen.
There's I'll tell you another bust, because this one's saying this guy's going to be drafted in the second round. And this one actually has him going to your Indianapolis Colts. Where the hell am I? This is Pro Football. Kellen Mond.
What?
Yeah, why the hell would they draft Kellen Mond? Jacoby Brissett was brought back, correct?
No, Jacoby Brissett was actually not brought back. So our backup right now is Jacob Eason, former third-round pick out of Washington.
Washington, yeah, I remember him. Did Brissett go anywhere?
He went to Miami.
Okay, for some reason I had him in my head in Miami. I was like, that's not right. You're just thinking that. Okay, so he did go to Miami. Okay.
But for the Colts to waste a round 2, that's just stupid.
You can't do that because you don't have a 3rd round pick because of Carson Wentz. Isn't
correct.
that the reason? Isn't that the reason why they don't have the 3rd pick?
Yep. So we traded this year's 3rd.
You can't use a 2nd and 3rd round pick on a quarterback in the same year. That makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't know who drafted this. They didn't put their name on it. In fact, they put their name on the top 50. They've got Kyle Trask going to the Miami Dolphins. You're going to draft a quarterback?
This guy's irrelevant.
Who played at the University of Florida? Eric Eager is the one that did this one. Played at the University of Florida, and he's going to go play for the Miami Dolphins and be lurking over Tua Tagovailoa's shoulder. You can't do that to Tua. If you do that, then you got to trade him. You got to trade him. You're just being a jackass at that point.
Put that guy on ESPN. He's terrible.
This isn't like a typical, we'll just get a backup quarterback. You're drafting a guy from the University of Florida on a franchise in the state of Florida. Oh, my God. The fans will be calling for Tua's head by week 3. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Oh, that's
even though he's a crappier quarterback, you'd have to draft Kellen Mond just so you wouldn't have so you can say, no, we drafted him as a backup. We're not trying to start him. The most popular guy on any team in the National Football League, other than maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a couple other teams, is the backup quarterback. He's the most popular guy to the fans because who knows what the team could look like if he comes in. Insane.
I saw a mock draft from Chris Sims, and he had the Buccaneers taking a QB at 32, and I'm thinking they're trying. They have a 2-year window. Get a player ready to win now. Some of these guys, when they make their mock drafts, just kill me.
No, you don't do that to Tom Brady. You draft much later in the draft, and maybe you try to develop someone.
Right?
Who do you think Tampa's going to pick? By the way, before we run out of here,
real quick, the top 2 guys I got, obviously I talked to my brother a little bit yesterday. Jason Owe, the Penn State DN, who I mentioned, just to add a little bit of depth there because they are pretty old on the defensive line. And I know they have Leonard Fournette, but he has a 1-year deal. Ronald Jones is a free agent after the year. And who they signed from Cincinnati, he is on a 1-year deal. So really their running back room is going to be bare bones. Najee Harris, if he's there at 32,
he's not going to be there at the
I'm just saying if best available, if he does somehow end up.
If Najee Harris is gone, would you go best available running back? Or do you think it just because my best available running back outside of that is ETN from Clemson. And that's actually who I have the Bucs taking. I think the Bucs are going to go running back.
If he's there, the Clemson guy, but outside of that, I would go back to the D line. I would stop my line after the Clemson running back.
I just think I would be shocked if Najee Harris got past the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's fair. I agree.
I also believe he's going to go earlier than that, but I would be shocked if the Pittsburgh Steelers goes, yeah, we don't need a running back. We'll go ahead and we'll draft some, random safety at a TCU or whatever. No, you got to get a damn running back. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers, by God. And he's the closest thing I've seen to Le'Veon Bell. Najee Harris reminds me a lot, just his build and his running style reminds me of Le'Veon Bell and being able to do a lot of things on the offense. I was thinking about this yesterday. How underrated of a coach is Mike Tomlin? And I'll tell you why I say that. Mike Tomlin had Antonio Brown in his locker room for 8 years without anyone knowing that he was a mental patient.
Kudos.
He doesn't, when he leaves to go to the Raiders, that's when it all comes out. And the crazy just, a whole lot of crazy in here. He number one with the bullet. You're like, God, where the hell was this in Pittsburgh? How great, people don't realize how great of a coach he must have been. Because I don't believe that he just became bonkers, 3 days after going to the Raiders. I think he was always bonkers, and there wasn't someone in there reining him in.
I love Tomlin. Love him.
I saw that he got a 3-year extension the other day. I was like, dude, if you were smart, you'd sign a 30-year extension with Tomlin. Dude, Tomlin, he's one of my favorite coaches just because of that. I wish I could duplicate it, but that look that he gives.
Talk about going from coward
He
to
doesn't look
Tomlin.
mean, but he looks serious. And like, I wish I could duplicate that look. This is an incredible look. It is about that time. I realized we were, things blinking. So that means I got to start getting
A lot of fun today.
Yes, sir. There are some shows that I'm like, man, thank God that one's over. And there's some shows like this where I'm like, dude, I could do 7 hours of this.
We could have talked about this all day.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? We didn't get it organized, but it would be fun to do. Justin and I, a few years back, did a live draft show.
I would enjoy that one time.
We might do that. We just have to make sure we watch our P's and Q's, because if we're live,
Have a few beers.
Drink beer. And look, we drank beers and everything, but we stayed. I want to say that was the draft that. I think it was the Derrick Henry draft, but I could be wrong. It could have been the year before, but it was right around that time period. All right, time to turn back time. On this date in 1918, so 103 years ago today, Tris Speaker ties the career outfield record of 4 unassisted double plays from the outfield. To do that once would be a career highlight. 4 unassisted double plays in his career from the outfield. There's a reason why they called that man the Gray Eagle. They said that he played incredibly shallow center field because, remember, he came up during the dead ball era. So he wanted to make sure that the ball that blue pits didn't fall in front of him. And evidently he had incredible reaction, and it was hard to get the ball over his head. 4 unassisted. That means that dude's scooping one, a line drive you thought was going to drop, and you're somewhere between second and third, and he's running across the second base line. Unbelievable. Also on this date in 1986, I always remember this where I was on this date. Roger Clemens becomes the first major league hurler to strike out 20 batters in a 9-inning game. I remember that game was being televised. I think it was the Saturday game of the week, anyways, I was actually watching that game. You didn't get a lot of games back then, and that game I watched, and I remember just being in awe. And I remember being a little kid going, I can't believe no one's ever done this before, not realizing at that time how different the game was starting to change, where people were starting to launch and try to go for the home run, whereas 20 years before that it was a flat out embarrassment to strike out. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today. What does that mean?
Happy 51st birthday to Andre Agassi. 8 Grand Slam titles. Of course, he's married to Steffi Graf. Man, I don't know how many kids they have, but I smell a tennis champion. I mean, these are the couples that have kids that the kid ends up being like just some total dork and never goes outside. Right? Yeah. You see like Agassi 4735 as a gamer tag, and you're like, are you related to Andre Agassi? Yeah, he's my dad. Snort, push up the glasses and stuff. Like, why aren't you playing tennis? Well, because World of Warcraft really, fulfills me. I apologize to all you gamer nerds out there. I do play the MLB The Show, but I can't do it for long periods of time. I've noticed as I've gotten older, I play one of those games and I'm about done for the day. I can't get used to when I was younger. I used to be able to get locked in and play 4, 5, 6 hours. And maybe that's because I was drinking a hell of a lot more and the beer's just flowing. But I play like one MLB The Show game, one 9-inning game. And I'm like, that's it, dude. I'm done. I don't want to see this for a couple of days. I went out and bought it. I was excited to buy the new game. And then you realize, what I bought is not much different than last year's. And you can't get on the server. So what the hell's the point of it? That server has not been available anytime since I've owned the game.
That was my problem with Madden. I feel like every year just started becoming repetitive, so I stopped. I like you, I could play for hours, but I buy it, I play it once, and then once here and there.
I've had that game for 9 days. 9 days. Not one time have I gone on there. I've even just turned on the machine just to see, and then I turn it off. Not one time have I gone on there, Joey, where it says the servers are okay. There's, as soon as you turn it on, you get inside the game, the servers are unavailable right now. Get your act together, EA Sports. What the hell?
Mina Kimes must be running that show.
Yeah, she must be the Orlovsky.
Oh God.
Must be the
Don't you love when bad QBs like him and Trent Dilfer are the experts?
God, at least I didn't dislike. I don't even know if I dislike Orlovsky. He's just annoying.
He's got this cocky attitude.
Well, I feel like he's constantly trying to shock you with the statement. And it only shocks me that you're on ESPN. Like you are what they said. We got to have more of this guy. He's a channel changer for me. He's not as bad as Max Kellerman, so I'm not going to rake him over the coals, but he is a channel changer for me. When I see him, I'm like, he's about to say something stupid, and I'm afraid something important might fall out of my head, so I better change the channel. What's your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off's just going to be, we had so much to cover. My prediction for Julio Jones, I'm going to go to Baltimore.
That's right, I forgot about it.
We just had a lot of fun. It was a lot to talk about. Baltimore Ravens or New England Patriots if he gets moved. Those are my two teams.
You know the latest rumor that I've heard for him? You're going to love this.
Oh, God.
Tennessee Titans.
Man, that would put the cherry on top.
That would
for me.
Dangerous. That would be a dangerous assault. And if they don't go wide receiver with their first pick, that tells me that trade is more than just hearsay. Evidently, there's been talks, because remember, Falcons head coach was the assistant coach at Tennessee. So he's got a relationship with Vrabel. And those rumors come out. I see him the first day, and I never believe these rumors when they come out the first day. I've seen them too often to where I think they might be a major player in this. The only thing that concerns me with that is if that were to happen, and it would have to happen after June, June 1st or whatever the cutoff date is, because if they trade them prior to, it's a $23 million hit on the cap for the Falcons. The NFL's, that's my walk-off for the day. The NFL's rules and regulations on the way the cap hits are so screwy and goofy, it's hard for the common person to keep up with. It's so, what the hell does it matter if he gets traded in May or June on your cap hit? At that point, you're just playing. And now all these teams are reworking their deals, so they're having large signing bonuses and lower salaries. That's just a way to manipulate the cap. What the hell's the point of the cap if you're going to be able to manipulate it?
Stupid.
It looks like it's raining in Cleveland, by the way. That'll suck for the draft.
Oh, come on. I want to have some fun tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, they're outdoors. I'm looking at NFL Network, and Punchface is up there, and he's in front of a screen or a window, and there's rain being against it. Man, that will suck. I hope it doesn't rain on those people. It rained a little bit in Nashville in 2019 when we were there, but it wasn't terrible. we didn't get up close the first round. We went down there on the second round, and the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we went down and hung out. Round one, we actually went to a bar far away because it was so packed. Oh. You would not believe it, Joe. It was so packed you could not walk, and there was just like no point of going all the way down there. And then you can take you an hour to get a beer and a 45 minutes to find a bathroom, kind of thing. So the first night we just kind of laid back.
Nashville is going to be hard to top.
Yeah. Actually, I think the draft ended on. I guess the draft ended on Saturday that year. I guess it went rounds 3 through 7. Is that what they're doing this year? Have you seen?
Oh yeah, it's 1, then 2 and 3, then 4 through 7 Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. That's what they did. I'm thinking of the old school crap because I went to the one in New York a couple of times. It sucked. Comparatively, at the time, I thought it was great. I went into Radio City Music Hall. They gave you little earbuds, NFL earbuds. So you could hear what Chris Berman was saying, right?
Oh wow!
And they had a bar, so you could sit there and drink booze and listen to them. And I was fairly close. That was a lot of fun. And then I went to the Nashville one. I was like, that one sucked. It's all comparative. The one in Vegas next year should be a lot of fun. Enjoy it tomorrow. Go Braves. I'm getting out my broom. Getting the broom
in.
Get the broom out, baby. We'll see y'all tomorrow to react and get ready for round number 2.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette, please. Can I